Right now, you are one of two things: the predator or the prey. There is no third option, and there is no space in between. The prey waits. It hopes things will work out. It follows rules it never questioned, hesitates at the exact moment decisions matter most, and reacts to life instead of shaping it. The prey works hard, but never smart, always half a step behind, watching other people walk away with the wins it could have taken. The predator does the opposite. The predator creates the opportunity. It sees through the noise, moves with precision, and acts before anyone else even understands what's happening. It doesn't ask permission. It dictates the game, controls the flow, and forces everyone else to play on its terms. This is the difference that no amount of effort can close on its own. The people at the top don't just work harder than you. They see reality differently. They move first. They think faster. And they stay ahead, while everyone else scrambles to catch a game that's already been decided. Here's the part they never wanted you to understand. You were trained to be prey. From the moment you could understand language, you were programmed to follow, to obey, to doubt yourself, taught to stay in line while the real players quietly rewrote the rules in their own favor. You were never meant to win inside the system they built. You were meant to serve it. Most people spend their entire lives as pieces on someone else's chessboard. They wake up, go to work, chase goals they never actually chose, and call that a life. But somewhere underneath, you already know something is off. You've felt it, that sense of playing a game you never agreed to join, running as hard as you can, and staying in exactly the same place. That is not bad luck. That is design. You've been conditioned to accept limits that were never real, trained to chase success the slow way, the safe way, the way that keeps you manageable, while the people who understand the real rules move in ways you were never shown. But the game, unfair as it is not unbreakable. It's hackable. And once you see how the elite actually operate, fighter pilots, negotiators, grandmasters, the ones who bend outcomes before the first move, you will never be able to see reality the same way again. This isn't motivation. Motivation fades by morning. This is a tactical rewiring of how your mind processes reality. And if you don't master it, understand clearly what that means. You're not standing still. You're already falling behind. Start with the one fact everything else is built on. From the day you were born, you were absorbing a script. Your family, your teachers, the media, all of them, without malice, most without even knowing it, drilled the same instructions into your subconscious. Play it safe. Work hard, but not too hard. Wait your turn. Success is rare. Money is scarce. Don't question the rules. And so you didn't. You accepted the script as truth and followed the invisible track laid out in front of you, believing that if you just kept checking the right boxes, you'd eventually be allowed to get ahead. But that script was never engineered to make you successful. It was engineered to keep you predictable. Look at the people who actually win. The ones who move industries, shape events, seem to bend circumstances to their will. They don't follow the rules you were handed. They don't hesitate. They don't wait for anyone's permission, because they understand something you were kept from. Reality is not fixed. It's a set of assumptions you were taught to treat as walls. And right now, your mind is crowded with limits you never chose. You were trained to hesitate, to second guess, to overthink until every challenge looks like a wall and every obstacle looks like a dead end. So imagine for a moment deleting that hesitation, seeing openings where you were trained to see barriers, moving with such certainty that doubt never even enters the room. That is not a fantasy. That is simply how elite minds already operate. When a fighter pilot takes control of a machine moving faster than instinct can follow, he doesn't waste a thought on, "Can I do this?" He's already conditioned himself past that question. His mind clear, his focus total. When a negotiator walks into a situation where lives hang on his words, he doesn't freeze, and he doesn't let fear cloud his read of the room. He trusts his process. adapts in real time, and takes control before anyone else grasps what's unfolding. When a grandmaster sits down across the board, he doesn't see chaos and a crowd of pieces. He sees 10 moves ahead, laying traps, dictating the shape of the entire match, while his opponent is still reacting to the last move. A striker stepping up for the decisive kick doesn't think, "What if I miss?" He silences the noise and executes like a machine. He's already scored it in his mind, and the ball is only following the command. A surgeon in the final seconds of an impossible operation doesn't let the pressure in. He locks down, lets trained hands take over, and works with the calm of someone who has removed panic from the equation entirely. This is the line that divides the world. The weak hesitate, the elite execute. The weak are consumed by pressure. The elite feed on it. They have shattered the limits of ordinary thinking. They don't play the game everyone else is trapped inside. They see the game from above. And that leaves you with a decision. Because the life you're living right now is not a reflection of your true capacity. It's a reflection of your programming. A script handed to you before you were old enough to refuse it. Running on autopilot. Quietly defining what you believe you're allowed to want. What you believe you deserve, and who you believe you are. The moment you truly see that, you can begin to rewrite it. It may feel uncomfortable at first. It may even feel terrifying, because it means taking full responsibility for your reality, with no one left to blame. But the instant you accept that you are the one in control, everything changes. To rewrite the script, you first have to understand the machinery running it. And the most important piece of that machinery sits at the base of your brain, a filter that decides, every second, what you notice and what disappears. Think about the last time you decided you wanted a particular car. Suddenly, you saw it everywhere. On the highway, in your neighborhood, at every light. Did the world fill up with that car overnight? No. Your brain changed what it let you see. That filter is real. And it is the difference between the predator and the prey. Every second, your senses are hit with millions of pieces of information, and your conscious mind can only handle a tiny sliver of it. So the filter decides what's worth your attention, and it makes that decision based on what you believe matters, which means your beliefs are literally shaping what reality you're allowed to perceive. Here's the trap. If that filter is set to look for obstacles, it will find them everywhere. If it's trained to expect failure, it will hand you proof of failure all day long. If it's convinced that opportunities are rare, you will walk straight past them, even when they're directly in front of you. Most people never touch these settings. They assume the world simply is the way they see it, never realizing they're only seeing what their filter has been trained to show them. Now look at how the elite use this. A profiler in an interrogation doesn't just hear words. He catches the flicker of doubt, the half-second hesitation, the shift in tone that everyone else discards as noise because his filter has been trained to detect them. A pilot in combat isn't panicking at the chaos. His filter is stripping away everything irrelevant and keeping only what matters for survival. An investor doesn't watch the headlines and react. His filter is tuned to see the pattern forming long before the public feels it. That's not luck. That's wiring. The elite have deliberately trained their filter to work for them, so that opportunities and winning moves stop looking like random events and start looking inevitable. And your filter is running right now, whether you chose its settings or not. If you're seeing limits, struggle, and missed chances, it's because that's what it's been programmed to find. But it can be reprogrammed. Give it a clear target instead of leaving it defaulted to your fears, and it becomes a heat-seeking system pointed at what you actually want. Here is how you begin, and you can start tomorrow morning. The moment you wake, before the world floods in, give the filter a direct command, not a wish. A command spoken out loud, because the brain processes a spoken instruction differently than a passing thought. Show me one new way to move toward what I want today. Make me aware of one advantage I'm currently blind to. Then, for 3 minutes, close your eyes and rehearse the outcome you're after, as if it's already happening. Because your brain doesn't draw a hard line between vivid rehearsal and real experience. And what it rehearses, it starts building toward. And at night, before sleep, write down every small clue you caught during the day. The stray comment that sparked something. The gut feeling you'd normally ignore. The subtle shift you noticed in a conversation. That single habit tells the filter. Keep finding more. At first, the signals are faint, then they compound. Do this consistently, and your awareness sharpens until you're catching what everyone around you is missing. With the filter retrained, you can install the way of thinking that sits on top of it. Because the elite don't just perceive reality differently. They process decisions through frameworks the average person has never been handed. The first is thinking in chains instead of single moves. The average person asks, "If I do this, what happens?" and stops there. The elite ask, "What happens after that, and after that, and what chain reaction the first move sets loose?" A new chess player focuses on the next move. The grandmaster calculates the whole sequence, forcing the opponent into a position where the loss is sealed long before it's felt. The reactive executive responds to the economy. The exceptional one predicts the shift years out and positions so that when it lands, he's already in control. The next time you make a decision, don't stop at the immediate result. Ask what ripple it creates, how it plays out 5 moves from now. The instant you think past the immediate move, you stop reacting to the game and start steering it. The second is a loop for moving under pressure. Built by a military strategist and used by pilots and agents to decide fast without drowning in analysis. Observe, orient, decide, act, and then do it again, faster than the situation can change. In a dogfight, there is no time to freeze. Hesitation is death. So you take in your surroundings, orient to the new information, choose and move, and whoever cycles through that loop fastest wins, every time. The same loop is the edge in every high-stakes moment. When the market shifts, the prey hesitates while the predator observes early, reorients, decides, and acts before competitors even register the change. Speed of clean decision-making is the advantage. And around those two sit the sharpening tools the elite use to cut through noise. When you're stuck, reach for the simplest explanation before the elaborate one. Complexity is usually where clarity goes to die. Recognize that a small fraction of your actions produce almost all of your results, and pour yourself into that fraction instead of spreading thin across busy work that feels productive and changes nothing. And flip the question that everyone else asks. Instead of only asking how to succeed, ask how you would fail. Then simply refuse to do those things. Instead of hunting for proof that you're right, deliberately hunt for proof that you're wrong so you can adjust before reality forces you to. To train this, be honest about your weakest decision-making habit. Do you hesitate, overthink, react from emotion? Find the pattern that's been quietly costing you. Then pick one framework and run it daily until it's automatic. Rehearse it before you need it, the way pilots run the loop in training and grandmasters play out positions in their heads, so that when the real moment arrives, the winning decision is already muscle memory. The weak react, the elite predict, execute, and stay ahead. None of this holds under pressure, though, without one more piece. And it's the piece almost everyone gets wrong. The real dividing line between elite performers and everyone else isn't intelligence or speed. It's the ability to stay clear and composed under extreme emotional pressure. The average person drowns in stress or lashes out impulsively. The elite take that same turbulent energy and turn it into fuel for sharper decisions. They don't pretend the fear isn't there. They redirect it. Because here's the truth about stress. The stress itself is not the problem. Your interpretation of it is. Fear and excitement produce nearly identical signals in your body. The racing heart, the surge, the heightened senses. The only real difference is the label you attach. The weak mind feels that surge and calls it, "I'm nervous, something's wrong," and freezes. The predator feels the exact same surge and calls it, "I'm ready, this moment matters," and sharpens. So, before the presentation, before the confrontation, before the moment that matters, tell your brain what the signal means. This adrenaline is readiness. This is my moment. You're not lying to yourself. You're correcting a mislabel, and you can steady the body directly, which steadies the mind. The technique pilots and operators reach for is simple and almost embarrassingly effective. Breathe in slowly for a count of 4. Hold for 4. Release for 4. Hold for 4. And repeat. It is not just relaxation. It's a physiological override that signals to your brain, "I am in control." Shutting down panic before it can hijack you and clearing your focus so you think faster and move stronger. Use it before you speak, mid-negotiation, anytime pressure threatens to take the wheel. But composure is worthless without the thing that actually separates knowing from winning: execution. You can hold the strongest mindset on earth, and if you don't move, you don't win. A pilot can't just study tactics, he has to fly. A negotiator can't just read about psychology, he has to walk into the standoff. And yet most people collect knowledge and sit on it forever, waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. The elite don't wait. They make the move under time pressure, knowing imperfect action beats flawless hesitation, and they adjust as they go. The moment you stop deliberating and start acting, your mind begins rewiring itself for dominance. Then take the thing you fear most and turn it into ammunition. Most people treat failure like the end of the road. The elite treat it as data. Every mistake is a reading. Every setback is intelligence for the next strike. Every loss is just a test you haven't passed yet. When you stop fearing the fall and start mining it for information, you become genuinely hard to stop. So here is where everything you've heard resolves into a single choice. You now understand the game. Most people never even realize they're playing. You know the difference between the predator and the prey. You know that the filter in your brain decides what reality you're allowed to see, and that you can reset it. You know how the elite think in chains instead of moves, how they decide under fire, how they turn pressure into fuel and failure into intelligence. You know the walls you've been living inside were assumptions, not facts. And knowing changes nothing. Only execution does. This is the exact point where most people quietly close the door and return to the life they already had. Because applying this means giving up every excuse, and excuses are comfortable. But you can start small enough that the brain can't talk you out of it. Take one action in the next 24 hours. Any action that moves you toward what you actually want, however tiny. Because if you don't act inside a day, your mind will quietly convince you to stay exactly as you are, then build on it. Momentum is the real weapon of the people at the top. A train at walking speed is stopped by a single brick, but at full speed, it goes through a wall without slowing. They don't wait to feel ready. They make one move powerful enough to start a chain reaction, and then they ride it and shift who you believe you are. Because this is the deepest lever of all. Most people fail to change because they try to do different things while remaining the same person underneath. And that never holds. The one who says, "I want to be successful," while still thinking like someone who's stuck, stays stuck. But the moment the identity changes, the moment you actually become the person who moves first, who takes control of his environment instead of reacting to it, who stops waiting for permission, the actions follow automatically, without force. Decide who that person is. Then move like him today, not someday. Because your circumstances are the lag. Your identity is the lead. Change who you are, and reality has no choice but to catch up. The rules you were handed were never yours. The people at the top don't follow them. They write them. That door was never locked. It only looked locked because you were taught never to try the handle. So there are only two paths left from here. Return to how you've always thought, always hesitated, always reacted, and collect the same results you always have. Or step into the way the elite move, take control, and force reality to bend toward you. The power is already in your hands. The board is set. The next move is yours.
I wish you all the best. And until next time.